Tell me, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I had thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. Darth Plagueis was a Dark Lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to manipulate midichlorians to even create life. He could... Ugh. It was so powerful with the dark side of the... Oh, we're live. Greetings, adventurers. Oh. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the Boxsmith Live Show. I am your host with the most, Jeb the Boxsmith. Welcome to the show. Brought to you by Boxsmith Workshop, your one-stop shop for all your cardboard-related needs. We've got a wonderful stream today. As usual, this is a live show, which means, what does that mean? Today is it's a live show, which means at the bare minimum expect profanity, but we're comply with community guidelines. It's different than the scripted content. 2. We're all misfits and weirdos here, hot glue bonded by our love of cardboard and craftsmanship. If you don't feel comfortable nowhere else, my friend, you're going to feel comfortable here. This is the Boxsmith Live Show. We clown in this motherfucker. And lastly, do not look the directly into the eye. Now, without further ado, let's get on with today's activities. So, if you remember last time, and the time before that, we were working on making this big bad boy right here into a proper finished Warhammer. No 40k. You notice right here we've got this part done. Just going to put the other head on it. Fix up this little part right here. I didn't glue it properly and everything like that. And finish up this piece down here. And then with that done, we'll be good to go. I started earlier than we usually do because, one, I have more energy. You know, the problem last time was I was super sleepy. I wasn't taking care of myself, which is bad because I teach all of you to take care of yourself. If I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not practicing what I preach, what kind of leader am I? So, I took my own advice, I took care of myself. I'm back today. We're here at an earlier time where I am more awake and alert. I got more sleep last night. It's gonna be a much better time today. It's gonna be a great time indeed. Got the water filled up. We've got the table set. We're gonna have a fun time, alright? Excellent. And it actually reminds me, I got a comment from one of you lovely people a little while ago. Let me see if I can go find it really quickly. Asking for help with the build that they were doing. Where was it? No. Okay. I'll link the comment when I eventually make this to a proper video, but basically, someone was looking for tips on how to make a proper staff out of cardboard. So, since we have at least part of the staff in this, during the build for today, I'm going to be teaching how to make a proper staff out of cardboard. We're working more down this part. But, that being said, hammer time. So I've been thinking a little bit more about how I want this design to look and everything like that. And basically, I thought to myself, originally, I was going to make a big-ass hammer where it's got, like, you know, the one side that looks like that, and another side equally as big as on top of that. And I thought, I kind of wish this thing was smaller so you could see it a bit better. Hang on a second, maybe I can... that would work. I'll just flip it upside down. That's better, that's better. So, I was thinking to myself, we have two options here. Either one, you can make it like a traditional big ol' hammer, where it's got two evenly balanced pieces on either side, like that, or we can make it a type of hammer where it's only got the one really big piece and maybe some more decoration on that side. So, I couldn't decide, so I'm going to leave it up to y'all. What kind of design do we want for this hammer? Press 1 if you want it to be a traditional balanced hammer. Press 2 if you want it to be the one-sided front-heavy hammer. And wait for y'all's responses really quickly. At the end of it, I don't know, we're probably like... not on stream, because I don't really have the space for that right now, but when I make this into a video later this week, I don't know, I'll probably like smash something with the hammer on camera or something like that. You know, it'll be fun. Try to have a bunch of fun, here's the thing. Ooh, I forgot I had this on me. Probably gonna use this at some point later on. We're working on the handle. We've got the responses. Everyone's saying 2. Awesome, awesome. I like the way y'all think. It sounds fun. Okay, so this right here. We don't need it no more. We don't need it no more. We can reuse the different pieces that went into it, but as it stands, it's not needed. Let me tell y'all, breaking boxes is almost as fun as building with them. They say it takes approximately 3 times the amount of energy to create than to destroy. And as a boxer doing this for as long as I have, I completely agree with that sentiment. So, we've got all these different lovely pieces of cardboard right here we can work with. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, of all the different hammers that I've seen in fiction, what are some of the coolest ones? So, I go and take a look-see at, say... Oop, wrong one. That's Twitter. Do I not have a browser source? That's weird. Okay, hang on one second. We're gonna create a browser source really quickly. Just call it ref Adobe. Can you hear me now? Like I was saying, I'm such a grandpa when it comes to things like OBS. I forgot I had to manually put in I had to manually put in my mic source when I created a new thing. Whatever. I didn't say much that was too important anyways. Basically, we're making a hammer. The point I was trying to make, but you couldn't hear me, was whenever I want to make a new design for whatever it is I'm making, whether it's something that's inspired by something or something that's an exact replica of it, I think to myself, what are those exact replicas of it that I'm looking for? One particular example, of course, was Nora Valkyrie's hammer from Rubik. Alright, so. Hammer. Can y'all even... Yeah, that's... I guess that works. Alright, so. Thinking time, chat. Thinking time. Let us think and think and think. Who's got some ideas on how we can make this thing look even cooler? I, for one, think it would be kind of neat if we took the main piece that's like echoing. Ah. That's no good. Is that worse? Yes, it probably is. I manually turned on my sound effects. There should only be one. Oh, I see what the problem is. Okay, you shouldn't hear anything now. There shouldn't be any more echo. I had two audio sources that were playing at the same time. That's strange. Alright, should be fixed now. How Totoro says, give it a dragon. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Dragon. Now, how would we go about doing that? I have an idea. Why don't we make it so... you look at this part right here. You know, this top of the handle going down all the way to this little coiling piece right here. Why don't we make it so that this is like the tail of the dragon, and it wraps around like that, and the dragon's head is up here. It's up here like that. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Let's go with that. So, the first question of that is kind of dragon design we want to make here. Before that happens, I need to reinforce this little piece right here with more glue. So let me go do that real quick. Only took a couple of seconds. I had a bit of a gamer moment the other day, and I almost ripped this thing clean off. I tried to glue it back on, but it wasn't working properly. But now it's all fixed, so that shouldn't be a problem anymore. Push it. Ah! Why is it doing that? Oh, that's right. It's because it's not... Ah, that makes sense. Okay. So, if you look over here, once this is finished drying, once it's been pressed to my chest... Is it done drying? If it's not, it will be in another, like, 30 seconds, I'm sure. Oh no, it is definitely not done. You know what? I need to open it anyways. Because, if you look in here, it's a bit wobbly. Who can tell me why it's a bit wobbly? There's a good reason for why it's so wobbly, and it lies within the very center of it. Does anyone know the answer? We'll go over in about just a second. There's a bit of a delay between what I'm saying in the chat, so it's going to be a couple of seconds. Let's get that out of there. That's proper. Done. Dive it up and see. Ah! Quaker 66279. You are very, very close. You are very, very close. You see the problem of why it's wobbly, because you remember the spine that we put inside of it. We did not glue it to the top. We glued it to the inside about right here or so. So this part, this is not going anywhere. That's good. What we forgot to do is also glue it to the top. So it's starting to... Hold on, let me show you right. It's wobbling like that because it's not secured to the top as well, because this is a different piece. So, that's a really easy fix, honestly. Basically, what I need to do is just, honestly, just almost take apart this entire top half entirely, which isn't so bad. Sometimes this is a necessary step to it. Sometimes disassembly of half of the work you've done is something you need to do as a boxsmith in order to make sure that the final product is as incredible as it could possibly be. So, I've gone and exposed the PVC pipe over there, which is going to help us. I shove the hammer just a little bit in further, like so that it's roughly flush with the top of the hammer. It'll be a lot easier to glue it in place. But since that's about all it's going to want to give, but it's not quite flush with the top, what I'm going to do is take this little piece of cardboard here and glue it together. Because that's going to create a little bit of buffer that'll hopefully be just enough space. It'll hopefully be just enough space that I can put it on top of here, and it'll be flush with the rest of the hammer. Just gonna wait for that to dry. I might even fold it a second time. Yeah, I'll fold it a second time. I'm liking the ideas I'm seeing in chat. Keep them coming. Imagine... Okay, Edit says, imagine the hammer is like rocket-powered at the end of and the rocket is the dragon's mouth. That would be a cool idea, maybe. I agree. That would be a cool idea. I think we might incorporate that. Oops. Wardrobe malfunction. Excuse me. So, that should be just enough done drying. And is it long enough? Let's fold it one more time. That should definitely do the trick. You know, they say you can fold paper at a maximum 7 times before it breaks reality. Hopefully we don't need to fold it an 8th time. I've grown rather fond of this particular reality. I'd rather not break it. Okay, we're just gonna take a second piece of it. This one will do. Let's use that. There. Just create a nice big old stack until it's finally long enough to reach the very tippity top. Like almost blast it, blast it, blast it, blast it. That'll work. We'll just fold this until it reaches enough length. See if I do this correctly. There. 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 If I did it right, it'll fold. There. 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 Look at me go, everyone. Look at me. Ow! 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 Fuck! Ow! Pain! Ah! Woo! Ooh, that's hot stuff. Always be careful. Hot glue. No matter how skilled of a boxsmith you become, hot glue will burn you all the same. Beginner, intermediate, or advanced, hot glue burns all the same. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same, hot glue burns all the same. You just get a little bit more used to it over time. The more nerves of your fingers you lose. There's a very low chance that it'll ever burn you to the point that you would need, medical attention, but when you're just starting out, it's going to hurt a lot more than when you're a little more advanced. So when you do that, there are ways you can go about treating your glue gun burn that makes it feel better. What you need, either aloe vera or coconut oil. Those are the two materials that those are the two substances that I recommend. You just rub a little bit of either of those on the part of your hand that you burned, and you'll feel better in a bit. On my website, I have a section of tools that I recommend y'all to buy that are specifically for boxsmithing first aid. There's a little search function on there. If you type in like first aid or something like that, they'll pop up. Bandages, gauze for if you accidentally cut yourself or things like that, aloe vera, and different types of bandages if you accidentally burned yourself and stuff like that. You know, just like I said, every one-stop shop for all your boxsmithing needs, all your cardboard-related needs. That's the ultimate goal, and the bare minimum, there's at least stuff to treat your boxsmithing wounds. This is finally big enough for gluing onto the main piece right here, so I think that's what we're going to start to do right now. Just gonna put that right on top of there. Like, almost. It's being a little bit finicky. Yeah, that should be enough. Yeah, just like that. So, I'm just gonna sit that right there and wait for it to dry, and it'll be all set. Oof. I was taking a shower earlier today, and I got water in my ear, and it's still there. I can barely hear it out of this ear right now. I like turned my head like this, and like water fell in there, kind of like I was in the pool or something like that. And I thought, oh, that's fine. I'll just turn my head to the other side, and it'll just be perfectly fine. Nope. It's been 2 hours, and I can still hear it sloshing around in my head. It's water, so eventually evaporate or something like that. So I'm not too worried or concerned. It's just a bit annoying. But I digress. Let me just get this off of this way. It's nothing really bad. It's just something for my hands to do. The old ADHD brain requires stimulation. I'm just gonna pick out all these little pieces of hot glue here that have no functional purpose. They're not doing anything, or they're gonna be glued over anyways. So, be going. Alright, it's basically glued together. Just want to glue together the rest of the brick on a couple of other sides so it stays perfectly still, or as still as it possibly can when it's finally glued together and everything. Yeah, like that. Okay, Edit says, but imagine he makes like a box Omnitrix. That would be kind of cool. You know, confession time? I never watched Ben 10 as a kid. I have a small understanding of the basics of it from Nerd Osmosis. I know who Ben is, I know who Gwen is, I know who Kevin is, I know about his car. I know like 3 aliens' names. I know what the Omnitrix is. I think there was a little alien who made it one time, which is how it exists. I know his uncle's like secretly a space marine or something like that. That's about it. I was a PBS Kids kid. I didn't watch Cartoon Network regularly until around, I want to say, middle school, honestly. But funny enough, I did watch Cartoon Network on TV, but back in my time, every network had a website, and they would have some of the tightest games you could ever play on that website. Like, some of my personal favorites were Hub Network's website, Cartoon Network's website, the Transformers.com website, / Hasbro's website in general. Ugh. I'm not much of a nostalgia fiend, but if I could go back and play like the classic Hasbro games website from like 2007 through 2012 one more time, I'd be happy. I'd be very happy if I could do that. The amounts of hours I spent on that website as a kid. Lots of them. But my point being, CartoonNetwork.com was where I found one of the TV shows that basically shaped my sense of humor, and that was The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. That shit was something else, in like the best of way. A lot of people were scared by Flapjack. Flapjack was the reason I like things like just absurd shit in general, like 21st century humor, or goodness, Meat Canyon, or just horror stuff in general. Like Flapjack is like the parent of a lot of the current interests that I have today, like Gravity Falls, Adventure Time, a lot of those shows have people who originally worked on Flapjack who eventually went and made shows like that. Very interesting if you learn like the history of where animators went after like the golden age of Cartoon Network cartoons. It's always something interesting to look into if you have the time. So, this piece is right here. It's done gluing down. I'm gonna take this piece again, put it back on top. And the hammer will be a lot more secure and everything like that. But since we have a little bit of scrap pieces that we can use, since they're not being used for anything else anymore, one thing we could do, just add a little more surface area to these sides. So when I'm gluing it together, it's got more to hold on to make it stronger. How to Tutorials asks, while I'm doing that, How to Tutorial asks, how do you feel about kid animated TV shows now? Overall, very positively. I don't think you ever get too old for a good cartoon. I watch more anime these days than cartoons, but I still keep up with a lot of shows. Like, the most recent Western cartoon I've been watching was The Owl House. It ended a couple weeks ago, and it was so good. I love The Owl House so much. It's such a cute show, but it's also incredibly weird and stuff, the way I like my shows and things like that. Basic World of Gumball's classic. I watched a little bit of Amphibia. Amphibia's pretty neat. It didn't really captivate me like Owl House did, but it was still pretty neat. I still enjoyed it. Oh, that's a happy accident. You notice on the inside of the hammer here, a little bit of space that we have right there. Which means I can take this piece, which is longer than I expected it to be, shove it in there, and then I can glue that together, and the overall hammer is going to be a lot more stronger because of it. But as I was saying, overall I have a positive opinion of cartoons and things like that. Like even controversial ones like Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is deserving of, I would say, a good 60% of the hate that it gets. But I don't know, maybe because it was my first experience with Teen Titans, and the fact that I don't feel too strongly against it, I still absolutely love Teen Titans, like classic Teen Titans. I watched Young Justice more than I watched Teen Titans though as a kid. I was just barely past the age when Teen Titans was on Cartoon Network, because again, you know, PBS Kids is what I primarily watched at the time. But Teen Titans Go, it's mostly trash. But occasionally, especially in recent years after they made that movie, it's gotten better. It occasionally gets a laugh out of me. That's what I have to say on that. How to Tutorials asks, what's my favorite anime? Very easy question, thank you for asking. Favorite anime? Gurren Lagann. I keep this was a gift I got for my birthday from a friend of mine. I keep this motherfucking thing on me 24/7. I was watching a couple clips from Gurren Lagann a bit earlier today, and I was reminded just why I love the show so much. It's just everything about it is incredible. One of these days I'm going to create a comically large drill just because of Gurren Lagann and being so cool. But my top three for animes, Gurren Lagann, One Piece, and Black Clover. At least the manga of Black Clover. I like the manga more than I like the anime. Alrighty, but yeah, that's my answer to that question. Yeah, ouch. Gracious. Gary Hart asked me, how do I design my weapons? Good question. It really depends on what type of weapon I'm making and why I'm making it. Basically, lost my train of thought. It'll get back shortly. When I'm making something that's a replica, I look at a bunch of reference images of it, and from there, my process is primarily just looking at the reference image, then looking at the cardboard I'm making it out of, tracing out the cardboard until I see something that I'm happy with, and then cutting that out and then repeating that process. It's kind of a very rapid trial and error kind of thing. Something like this, where it's more of an original design than a replica, I have a kind of a Michelangelo approach with it, where I just look at the cardboard and almost let it tell me what it wants to become. And I just kind of like follow along with it. It's almost like a flow state. It's quite fascinating. Alrighty. Henry Hester asked me who is my favorite character from One Piece. Good question. It's a tie between Robin and Shanks, and maybe Law. Law's a solid third. It goes Shanks, Robin, Law for me. Robin for obvious reasons. Shanks because he is essentially the kind of guy I want to be in life. I just really dig his whole character and perspective as, like, the world's guardian and mediator of sorts. I really like the fact that he uses his strength to keep peace primarily and protect those weaker than him. I really vibe with that sort of energy that he's got. He's like that one scene when like the bandits were pressing him when Luffy was a kid, and he basically let them like throw beer in his face, and he just didn't do anything about it because he recognized that they were essentially not worth his time. They were essentially, beneath him. The guy bragged all a bunch of hot shit about how high his bounty was. Literally, no, Shanks' bounty was like a good 8 times higher than that, but he didn't say nothing because he, like me, got a big kick out of the fact that this man is essentially an ant poking a giant bear, yet he's too stupid to realize that he's poking a giant bear. It wasn't until the guy actually attacked Kid Luffy or anything like that Shanks actually decided to demonstrate why he is that motherfucker, and absolutely decimated that guy and his crew with the help of his own crew. And it's just moments like that that made me fall in love with Shanks' character. Law is also really cool. Law is also really cool to me because one, his Devil Fruit power is absolutely amazing. Two, I really like the dynamic that he has with Luffy. Just kind of being whenever they work together for like the extended stretch of time during the Yonko saga, how he was the brain that balanced Luffy's lack thereof, to put it kindly. But over time, Luffy kind of rubbed off on Law and taught him a little bit how to, I guess, let go a little bit more and go with the flow, and he became a better character for it, I think. This is really neat. And Robin, because I have a soft spot for nerd girls. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's see. How Tutorials also asked me, what's my favorite hammer? Favorite hammer? That's a very good question. To give you an answer, I really like... Oh, I know there is an answer. I just had to think about it. It's not every day someone asks you what's your favorite hammer. In history, I'm gonna start with history. In just ancient history, my favorite type of hammer is the ones that they used in like the times when they fought knights and things like that, where it's like a hammer that's got like a it was like the common infantry hammer at the time. But if we're talking about in fiction, it's a tie between Nora Valkyrie's hammer from Ruby and Mjolnir from God of War Ragnarok. That specific version of Mjolnir. Nora's hammer, because I really like big hammers like this one that we're building here, because of just all the little tricks and spinning things you can do. I mentioned a while ago my quarantine hobby was flow dance and things like that. When I use staffs like the one that's inside of this pipe right here, it's inside of this staff right here, and also it turns into a fucking grenade launcher. That's some of the tightest shit ever. It's a hammer and a grenade launcher at the same time. It doesn't get a whole lot cooler than that. So yeah, those are two of my favorite types of hammers. Henry Hester says, I never like talking about any kind of hammer, doesn't matter where it comes from. I would say Millionaire from Marvel. I'll admit, I'm not as big of a Marvel junkie as I was when I was in, like, say, middle school or something like that. So I don't know who Millionaire is, but that sounds really cool. Speaking of Marvel, who's seen the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie? because I have, and oh my lord, it is incredible. Easily the best thing Marvel has made in years. This thing's just about done now. Just need to hold it in place a little longer. I say once to say it again. Holding things together when you're gluing them is arguably the least interesting part of being a boxsmith, but y'all are making it very fun by asking me all these questions and stuff. So please keep them coming. I enjoy answering them. It gives me something to do while I'm waiting for the glue to dry. Alrighty. This thing still needs a face on it right there, so we're just gonna make that next. What piece do I want to make the face out of? That's too small. Maybe this. Also too small. This one. Good enough, I guess. Oh wait, no. Let me just take the... Ooh, excuse me. Let me take the face that we were just using and put that on there. Like so. No? Yeah, that'll work. That there. Oh, Henry Hester says, oh, you meant Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, Mjolnir is really cool. I personally like the God of War Ragnarok version of Mjolnir more than the MCU's version, but Mjolnir is absolutely still a really cool hammer. Enough people ask, I'll make one of... If enough people ask, I'll make one of those on stream. There's a... On my website, there's a function. You donate money to support the channel, and you get input on things that I make next on the show. So, if that's something you're interested in, jumptheboxsmith.com is where you should go. But I digress. This piece is just about done. I'm going to trim this a little bit more, and then we'll just glue that onto that, and then we'll work on the detailing parts, like making the, making the dragon we talked about. Excellent, excellent. Gary Hart asks, do you like burgers or pizza? Ugh, you can't make me choose between burgers and pizza, Gary. Come on. How is that even remotely fair? Okay. I love both. But if I had to choose one, gun to my head, had to choose one, pizza. Pizza. It's funny. I have a little bit of a ritual. Back when, a little bit of Jeb lore. When I was in early high school, I was a part of something called the ACE program. And the ACE program, or the ACE program, stood for Architecture, Construction, Engineering. This is before I became the boxsmith. I was still trying to figure out what was the outlet for making stuff that, really suited me. And I was trying my hand, because originally, when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And I thought that's how I would put my knack for building stuff to use in society. But, something about being a mechanical engineer, you have to do a fuck ton of math. And little known fact about me, I do not like doing math. I only do as much math as is absolutely necessary to just get by or things like that. I did my best to learn what I learned, but math was always a sore subject for me in school. In fourth grade, I think it was third grade. Third grade, my teacher wasn't really the best at teaching math, and my school had this whole dogma about trying to teach students a grade level ahead of what they were actually. So they were trying to teach me fourth grader math when I was barely understanding third grader math, and it kind of fucked up my math understanding foundation for like all of middle school and into some high school. So math was always a very sore subject for me because I was rarely in a position in school where I was good at it. I was always just barely good enough to pass by, and that on top of shit. I'm okay. That on top of undiagnosed ADHD, that did a real number of my mental health growing up. So math and I don't really have the strongest relationships, for better or worse. But that being said, where was I? It's pizza. Sorry, didn't mean to get sad there. The story has a happier ending, but we'll come back to another time if y'all are interested. But pizza, the ACE program. Basically, the ACE program, we would just take on little design challenges and learn how to make stuff like that, and it was kind of neat. And is this done drying? I think it's about done drying. Yeah, good, good, good. At the ACE program, for lunch, they would take out and get us Pizza Hut, not Pizza Hut, goodness, Papa John's, Shack Pizza, Pizza Shack, and while the ACE program was just okay to me, because come to find out, engineering just wasn't something I ended up wanting to do in life, Papa John's hits different, and because of that experience, Papa John's is like my favorite chain pizza place. So like once a month, I treat myself to some tasty Papa John's, just for fun and memory of that kind of thing. Whew. Alrighty. How Tutorials asks, what's my favorite creation that I've made? What's my favorite masterpiece? Aw, come on. That's like asking a dad which is his favorite kid. Alrighty, but I like several for different reasons, if that makes sense. Hard to choose just one. So I'm just gonna give you my top 5, okay? How's that sound? My top 5 creations that I've made. There's no particular order. Just my 5 favorite creations: the Leviathan Axe, Enema, Louis, Lisa's body, the Ghost Rider sickles, and my hammer. Those are my top 5. Top 5 favorite things that I've made. Alrighty. This new hot glue gun that I've gotten here. It's really neat. I had basically this thing's little brother, the 22 long rifle equivalent of this thing, and it serves me well. But I live by the words of Megamind that the difference between a villain and a supervillain is presentation. So when I started streaming, I decided I wanted to go big or go home. So I got myself the 45 ACP caliber hot glue gun, and that's what I use now. I might still plug in the smaller one because it has niche uses for getting into places that are a bit more narrow. Because at the end of the day, size does matter. That's because there's some applications where bigger is better, and there are some applications where smaller is better. So it's all very dependent upon what it is you're trying to do. So yeah, that's what you need to keep in mind as a locksmith. Alrighty then. Henry Haster says, following up on something someone else said, that I should name the hammer. That's a good idea. I name most of, if not all of my projects if they don't already have a name. Like, the way that I do it, whenever it's a project that takes a long time, I give it a code name, and then later on, once it's finished, I give it a proper name. A prime example would be Louis. I'll bring it back home. I promised him. Louis, when he was in development, I named him Project LK40P. And then once I finally created his body, that's when the name Louis came to. Oh my gosh, do you see how much I am sweating? I put this thing to my head, and it just created an almost scale replica of Australia. How does that even happen? Oh wow, okay. It is kind of warm in here, isn't it? I guess that goes to show. As I was saying, this project, I don't know. Usually the name comes to me once I've actually finished building the thing. So I assume that's going to be the case here as well. We will see. We will see. thing about being a boxsmith, you get very creative with using your hands. Because cardboard props rarely need to be glued together at an angle that is very orthodox. So you have to get creative with how you hold things, especially if you don't have a huge workspace that you're working with. I'm using... You build up a lot of strength in your fingers. Like, I'm using 2 fingers to push right here, 2 other fingers on the back to hold it in place so that me pushing right here actually pushes onto the thing, it doesn't collapse the thing. And then my thumb down here to hold this in place. Boxsmithing at an advanced level is a real workout for your fingers and forearms. You feel it after a while. Like, boxsmithing for long periods of time is something that you get better at the more you do it. But that's just with anything. Practice makes perfect. The more you do work on something, the more refined your skills at it get. It's just the nature of things. Miyamoto Musashi taught me that. I should probably give Vagabond a read. Heard good things about it. I read the Book of the Five Rings. That's the book the real life Musashi wrote. But it'd be cool to see. I really enjoyed that book. So we kind of need to actually, read an anime about the guy who wrote that book. It's kind of funny. Basically, the Book of the Five Rings is about, just to put it simply, it's a guide on the philosophy of strategy and strategy in combat, or just overcoming physical and mental obstacles and things like that. It's a really good read. I definitely recommend it. It's not a very long read, too. But, let me tell you a little something about Miyamoto Musashi. That man, the real life Musashi. I haven't read Vagabond yet. That man was something else. In his lifetime, he went like 62-0 in duels to the death. He was remembered as Japan's greatest swordsman for that reason. And there was one time where he just kind of pulled up to a prestigious dojo, challenged their strongest students to a fight, whooped all of their asses, refused to elaborate, and then left. And then the students were really pissed about that. So then they invited him back with the plans to jump him. And he figured that they weren't going to give him the faith of a 1v1. So he showed up to the area like an hour early and waited for them. And then he jumped them who were trying to jump him and forced them to surrender and retreat. Mad lad. The final duel that he ever fought, he was against another very, very, very strong Japanese swordsman at the time. And he showed up like 2 hours late. He rode on a boat and realized as he was on his way there, shit, I only have one sword, because one thing he was famous for was his strategy of fighting with 2 swords at the same time. So what did he do? He took one of the oars of his boat and carved himself a new sword. And he used that sword to fight the guy with. And pissed off at the audacity of this man to not only show up late, but without even a proper sword, he declared that he would show no mercy, and he would kill him then and there. And he did not win that fight. Musashi killed him with a well-placed blow to the head with the wooden sword. So I personally aspire to just have even a fraction of the absolute madman energy of the late Miyamoto Musashi. Just, my main goal in life in general is I want kids like 1,000 years in the future after I'm gone to look forward to reading about me during Black History Month. Like, I want to be the reason kids hundreds of years in the future look forward to February, to be able to read about the life of Zemmois. Like, I want, or even if like we don't do Black History Month anymore, it's just like Black history or history of other nations other than white are like talked about throughout schools on a regular basis. So I want to be the reason kids look forward to history class. I want to live a life that's just the summary of people just go, he did fucking what? and just want to keep reading. That's the kind of life I want to live. Like, not necessarily overtly malicious or anything like that, but I want to leave a kind of impact on the world that just makes people reading about my life and just be like, holy shit, what a guy. You know what I'm saying? That's my mission. Alright, we've just finished wrapping this part of the hammer right there. And from there, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to take another piece like this. And I'm thinking, do I want to... That piece, it's all... No, you can't see that. This part right here, it's alright. But I want to see if we have a piece that can cover it up so it looks a little bit nicer. So I'm going to take some of this floor cardboard that fell on the floor from something I was making. Put that there because it follows the same color grading as the rest of the cardboard on this side and here. So when I put that there, it'll look a lot more uniform and everything. So that's going to be neat. I might, if I have the space and time, do the same thing on this side. Alrighty. Got some new faces. Welcome. I'm just going to call you Kirby because I don't think it'd be possible for me to pronounce your actual name. Says yo. Welcome. Alrighty. Next steps. Next steps. Next steps. Peepees. Oh no. Much better. Oh, I'm feeling it. Tachyon. This. Do I have more cardboard that's built like that? It appears not there. Maybe here? Nope. Here? Kind of. Is that long enough? We might make it work. Does that do on the other side? I mean, yeah, I guess so. Alright, we'll use this. Oh, and I could use this piece. And I put that on the top so that it looks like... Oh, yeah. I can put it up there and then it adds another little air of detailing that to it. Cool. Alrighty. Maybe I should trim that a bit. That's what I'm going to do. Which tool should I use to trim? This will do it. Alrighty then. How-to tutorials ask, can you give a shout to all who's watching in your next video? Yeah, I can do that. I would say remind me, but I'm gonna look over, when I revisit this footage, I'm likely going to see that bit, so I'm sure I'll remember. That one right there. There we go. Now you can see what. Good. Is that the right color? No. This is the right color. Watch out, friend. That sky is the wrong color. There. Good. When you become a high enough level boxsmith, rulers become optional. And that could be for two reasons. One, you cut a straight line so many times, your muscle memory kind of auto-corrects it. Which you always have a relatively straight line. Like so. Or two, you just don't really care if there are slight imperfections in it. One of the two are bound to happen eventually when you be boxsmithing long enough. Garage Creations says, can you give me a shout? Yes. Hello, Garage Creations. I hope you're having a lovely day. Alrighty. Anyone else want a quick shout out while we're here? We're not doing a whole lot right now. Well, looking at this, I think I might keep this piece that's sticking out right there. It might add a little bit more personality to it than if it was just a flat edge like that. So that's what we're gonna do. A little more glue there. Yeah. I love working with hot glue, but yeah, little spider-like strands that it creates sometimes annoy me. Especially when I'm using the beefy hot glue gun like this one. Ugh. It creates a lot thicker strands than the smaller hot glue gun does. So I have to worry about them a lot more often. Not the end of the world, there are worse problems you can have as a boxsmith. But it's a little bit inconvenient, is the thing. That's just how it be sometimes. It is what it is. It is what it is. Whew. I'm gonna use those little parts, you can kind of see them right in the corner. We're gonna use those flaps. Maybe what I'll do is maybe I might close them in like that. Yeah, I think that looks good. I'll close it in like that, put a little roof on top of it with another piece like so. That'd be good. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Huggers. Is that something people still say? Huggers dead? I know the original Pog face is dead, but people still say the phrase. I admittedly don't watch a whole lot of Twitch, so I'm not entirely sure. Ugh. I'm just gonna find the part those two meet. They're roughly the same size anyways. Really convenient. That little part up there off. Good. And the way I'm going to join those two pieces right there together is I'm going to take this, cut a little bit of them, and this is just a great way that you can use. This is a great technique that you can use to join two pieces of cardboard that you want a little, like, by the edges if you want a little bit more reinforcement to them. You could just glue them together from their edge. That's very difficult and rarely worth it, only in certain situations. So something you could do is just take a piece like this, or two of them, like this, bend them, and glue them together on either side of it, creating little tabs like this at the top and bottom. And that'll give you secure hold you're looking for without a whole lot of other undesirable issues. Ah! Gravity, am I right? There. And that one right. Ah! It said, no, mister, I don't want to be a part of the cardboard. I said, you're going to be part of the cardboard, whether you like it. Oh! I said, yes. And that's just what happened. So, we're gonna, ouch. It bit me. I'm as mad as I am impressed. I respect it. I didn't want to go down without a fight. PG. Gonna take that and glue that back onto the other side over there, and then that will be a donezo dealio. Yeah, yeah, excellent. Great. So now, if you look at it, got an edge like that on it. Very neat indeed. So we're gonna create a little top and bottom piece for them now. Gonna use some of this. Just gonna slap it on there on the top and or bottom. It's gonna be a challenge. The thing what I'm gonna do is take this. Oh no. Put that on top right here. So that way I can start to trace out the general shape of it and everything like that. Y'all remember those crossover toys between Transformers and Star Wars? Where it was like your favorite Star Wars characters, but they transformed into their favorite, not their favorite, they transformed into their signature ships. Like General Grievous turned into his ship. Anakin Skywalker turned into his Jedi Starfighter. They had a bunch of different ones. I had the General Grievous one as a kid. Ugh. Let's see here. No. What happened to my knife? Where's Mikasa? There she is. I have names for all of my knives. This one here. This one's Mikasa for obvious reasons. This one's Ares. Ah. And this one is, oops. And this one's Samehada. Also for probably obvious reasons. Ugh. Why did I flip this upside down? That's right. Big old hammer. There. That general shape, that rough shape I cut out there, I'm gonna just move all the cardboard beneath it because we have a cutting mat. That actually reminds me. Cutting mats are a very useful tool in a locksmith arsenal, but I understand they're also pretty expensive a lot of times. Like the one I'm using was like 30 or 40 bucks or something like that. And I recognize not every boxsmith or aspiring boxsmith can afford a $30 cutting mat. I certainly couldn't when I just started out. But there are workarounds if you want to still cut on a table without worrying about damaging it. Most popular one, and arguably the easiest, is just put cardboard underneath the cardboard that you're cutting. Not 100% perfect, but it will save the table that you're working on or the floor that you're working on a lot more times. It'll make it a lot easier for you to cut out what it is you're trying to cut out without having to worry about the wrath of your parents' four-star rarity belt upon ye's hinds. Alright, yeah, I got the rough shape of it right there. And here's another good tip. Not to be a locksmith whiz. If you have a shape that's not very traditional, like this one right here, that's kind of like a house shape, you could trace it and cut it out one time, like I've done here, but you still got the other side. So, You could do the same thing roughly and trace it out on that side. But what you could also do is if you know that it's just the same shape as this one right here, you could look at this piece and see where it's been cut out right there. Mark that off and trace it onto another piece of cardboard. That'll just make things easier on you. Just leave that. Mark off right there. Will I make a Discord server as how-to tutorials? I actually already have one. Let me drop a link to it so you can join if you would like. Right there. Splendid. As I was saying, like that. Now I have the... I cut the wrong piece. I was supposed to mark that line. So that I would know where to cut the other piece of cardboard, not to cut this piece of cardboard. You know, it's fine. It's fine. These things happen. It's just part of boxsmithing. What do we do when it happens? We're temporarily delayed, but not out of it. If that makes sense. On the bright side, it won't be too difficult to recreate what we had, because we still have two completely intact pieces. So I have two options. I'll either take this like this, and just use my trusty handy-dandy pliers stapler, just clip it back together. But, you know, I think that's the best idea. I'm going to do that instead. So, while I have this piece that I didn't mean to cut out, I can cut out the piece that I meant to cut out, so I'm going to take another piece right there, put it onto the table, and just, you know, cut it out. Whenever you're cutting with a knife, especially if you're not using a boxsmith gauntlet, always be mindful of where your offhand is. You know, it's with all the cuts that I've been making. I know the path that the blade is going, and I know that my fingers are nowhere near it. So even if I veer off a little bit, my hands are mostly safe. That's intentional. So, now I take this piece again, the other one that was attached to it, and I'm going to give it a little emergency surgery by starting off with a little bit of hot glue, like so. And then putting it onto this thing, putting it back. And to make sure that it stays and bonds properly, I'm going to take my pliers stapler and Frankenstein it back together, like so. But if you don't have a pliers stapler on hand, another thing that you can do is take a small piece of cardboard. Let's use this one for demonstration's sake. And if you don't have a lot of room, you can just take the cardboard and split it in half. And you want to get a big enough piece of the epidermis of the cardboard. Like, not the piece with, like, the ripples still attached to it. Just, like, the thinnest piece that you can get from it. And you can glue that, almost like a skin graft, onto the cardboard. Like that. So it holds it back together in one piece, and you barely use... It holds it back together in one piece, and you barely use a whole lot more surface area than if you were to put another piece on top of it, or something like that. Now you know. So, that being done, we now have both of the pieces that we were looking for. This one right here, and this one right here. So we're going to clear our space a little bit. Push that to the side. I'm going to grab the old hammer and glue the piece on now. Going to line everything. So. Stand up. Stand proud. No Jojo. And just glue it together. Like so. Chim Chim Lord asks, how should I approach a cardboard dagger? It's an excellent question. I'll show you once we're done gluing this piece together. The one that's going to go on top of it as well. Cardboard daggers are a great thing to make when you're just starting out as a boxsmith. Right. Do it correctly. This is why it's always good to check and see if your things are measured up properly, especially if you're cutting something that's not evenly shaped on both sides. Fuck. Not doing the thing properly. It uprooted from its hold. Oh no. Oh, my spine. Gracious. So, wait for another 10, 15 seconds. And that should be all for fucking crying out loud. Ugh. Okay, so I am sweating profusely, and I am we're gonna take a 5-second break while I go cool off in front of a fan. In a second, we'll finish gluing this piece, and then we'll yeah. There we go. Okay. Sorry for the audio jump scare. Yes, I was... Yes, Henry Hester, you were correct. I was fixing the music. But, as I was saying, we are back. And, this thing is being a naughty little piece of cardboard, not wanting to listen to Vox Dati. That sounded really sus, I'm sorry. But the bottom line is this thing is not listening, but fortunately we can make it listen, using persuasion tactics such as rolling for charisma. And if I get a 20, the box just does what it's told. That's right. Maybe I should get back into Dungeons & Dragons. I played like once or twice back in high school. Holding in place. Is it close? Oh, beans. I might just have to do it holding it like this. I'm getting fed up with this thing's bullshit, honestly. It does not want to cooperate with me, and I do not appreciate that. Oh, welcome, Jack of Space. Second stream I've caught, so happy to be here. Welcome. Good to see you. If this thing would just kindly behave, I would be very happy. Got a little bit on that one side, it's just being problematic on the other. Yeah. I have like two friends who are I have like 2 or 3 friends who are seasoned dungeon masters. I have considered learning their ways once or twice. I thought maybe it'd be fun way later down the line to host a Boxsmith D&D campaign or something like that, but I don't know the first thing about DMing a campaign. I don't know. Enough people are interested in that. If enough people are interested in that, that might be something that we do. Who knows? Henry Hester, no worries, I will not tell your mother that you're still awake. See, I put the cardboard on the... Not the cardboard. I put the Forgies on the... I put the hot glue gun on the low setting because I would hope that it would dry quicker. But that appears to not be working. So we're just gonna wait here and hope that eventually decides that it wants to cooperate. Meantime, soda. Delicious. Alright, I think this thing's finally decided to stick together. At last! Excellent. Alright, now to the other side. I've got friends on the other side. Got friends on the other side. That's an echo, gentlemen. Just a little parlor trick here on the Boxers Live show. brings me such joy to see my kids getting along with each other. It's nice to see that all of you are getting chummy with each other in the chat while I'm working on this. It brings me much joy to see that this community is that this community has players' connections deeper than just the surface, if that makes sense. Wonderful to see. Alright, that's almost done. Trying, and here comes the easier part. And this piece on. Possible. This is exactly the piece that I cut out. There. Oh well. That'll do. Close enough. Goose could do, we can too. Then once we do this, we can go and talk to you. Y'all about daggers. As promised. Finished. Ah, Ezzy Janer is back. Welcome back. Quaker says, I want to make a coin gun. Coin gun, interesting. Like a gun that shoots coins like this, like what Magneto did to that one guy in X-Men Origins, or like the gun from Ultra Kill. Like you throw coins and you ricochet off of them with the bullet. Either way, it sounds interesting. This piece is just about done drying. Might chim it down a little bit. That'd be good. Another tip. Whenever you have a position like this, where the thing that you're... Whenever you find yourself... Whenever you find yourself in a situation where... Whenever you find yourself in a situation where... Look at this. There's... If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, where you have pieces of the cardboard sticking off after you've already glued something together, but there's glue in the middle of a piece that's already there, so it's going to be a lot tougher for your knife to hack through it. What you want to get... a couple of tin snips like these. Cut through just about anything that isn't metal, or isn't super strong metal. But bottom line is, they'll definitely cleanly chop through cardboard that has a lot of glue on it, so it's no longer suitable for a normal knife. Get some tin snips, just let it eat away at it, slowly and surely. Like so. So it's finally flush with the thing that you're... 3, 2... I just finished the Leviathan. Let's go! Let's fucking go! You just finished the Leviathan. Let's all... It's awesome. I hope it was worth all the wood staplers. For y'all who weren't here last time, Ezzy was working on a creation called the Leviathan. Basically a culmination of a bunch of different things that they made all into one metal behemoth, if I remember correctly. And it's finally done. It gave them like 3 metal splinters, that's what it's for. Which, if you don't know, are far worse than wood or paper splinters. So I'm happy that you were finally able to get it done. That's very good. Very good. Always gratifying when a project gets finished, especially a big one. Working on for a while. Alrighty. finally done. This piece is... yeah, look at that. Head out the way. Excellent. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Great, great, great. So, our next course of action, let me see here. Let me just glue that a little bit more. Doesn't go anywhere. I need the tin snips again. Chip up that right there. Just lean back. Knock with it. Chop, chop. Excellent. Alright. That's basically done for right now. Now, I promised, I think it was Chim Chim Lord who asked about it, points and tips for making daggers out of cardboard. Henry says, I love this freaking community. People saying honestly the same. Oh, that warms my heart to hear. I love all of you too. It's you who make this a real community. Anyways. Alrighty. Let's see here. Who was it that asked about dagger? Let me scroll up the chat a little bit. Oh, you were saying you have an idea for a dagger, not that you want tips for a dagger. Alright, cool, let's hear your idea. Let's hear your idea. Chim Chim Lord. Should I make a devil dagger? Fascinating. I wonder what that entails. Does it look like a devil, or is it something from like a game like oh goodness, Devil May Cry? That's my question. As Junior says, I was just a normal viewer until I found Jeb's community, and I soon found my place. Ugh. That's what this is all about. That's my whole reason for doing this. I've mentioned before. Is that locksmithing is just such a great hobby, or just skill to have, and it took me like 6 years to get to where I was, and I'm mostly self-taught. So I always promised that if I ever found myself in a position of mastery, I would want to make the road to the top easier for people to follow me, and that's exactly what I'm doing my best to do here. So when you say stuff that like you found a home in this community, or that the stuff I'm telling you is helpful, it really does warm my heart and soul, because it tells me that what I'm doing is a good thing. It tells me that there's an effect. It tells me that it's worth it. So thank you. Y'all are half the reason why I do what I do. So I appreciate it. Let's see here. Ezzy Janer Legend. The Leviathan poses the strength and size of Jeb's clone drill hammer. Oh, so you think that now because you have a finished project, you think you can challenge the master? I see how it is, Ezzy Janer. And here I gassed up your project and everything, and this is how you challenge me in my own home on the day of my daughter's wedding? I'm in place. Benny's parking lot. I'll send you the coordinates. I'm just messing. Unless. Where were we? Daggers. Chimblords. It's kind of like a dagger that's forged by the devil. Fascinating. Fascinating. So what, it would have like a fiery looking heart sign or things like that? Would it have like maybe like horns or skulls? Like, it'd be kind of neat if it has like kind of like the Crucible from Doom, where it has like a demon skull head with like the horns on the it's got like horns on the side that act as the cross guard. Wouldn't that be kind of neat? At that point, you might as well make a full-on demon sword, something like that. Let's see here. But yeah. But since we're talking about tips and things like that, let me see if I can actually find the bloody comment that I was looking for. Because oh, wrong button. Really wanted to make mention of it this stream. So, let's see. Can I, like, search comments? Ugh. All right, I'll find the actual comment on my own time. But the bottom line is, someone asked me in the comment section of one of my videos how to go about making a staff out of cardboard. And I thought, since we're working on something that has a staff incorporated into it, why don't I give that person those tips now? So, if you're watching that, my friend, this is how a boxwood goes about making staffs and things like that. Basically, like most things that I do, you need a very strong spine. My personal spine of choice is, of course, PVC pipe, but you can use just about anything that's more durable than your cardboard. Anything from a curtain rod, bamboo skewers. If you're making something long like a staff, some good ideas would be a wooden dowel. Those are relatively easy to find, easier than PVC pipe. Unless you go to a hardware store like a Lowe's or Home Depot, you get both of those from the same place. You could also use stuff like anything that's just as long as the thing that you're working with would be perfectly fine. Hell, if you're short on materials, you could even use like a wrapping paper roll. It won't be as sturdy as, say, something like plastic, wood, or metal, but it would still work. Maybe don't use metal. Metal could actually like really hurt someone if you hit them with it. Then again, wood is arguably just as bad. But boxsmiths aren't violent people, so we won't do that, right? We won't hurt anyone with our props, will we? No, we will not. Dev does not preach that the doctrine of hurting people with our cardboard weapons. But staffs. If you have a staff like this and you want to make it like a proper cardboard staff, like maybe it's something like Sun Wukong's staff from a Monkey Kid. Let me pull up a photo of that. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Alrighty, so if you want to make a staff like one of these out of cardboard, staff from Monkey, goated show, by the way, worth the watch. Spiritual successor to Lego Ninjago, which is another goated show if you ask me. Where were you when we learned Lloyd was the Green Ninja? Good memories. But if you want to make something like this out of cardboard, what I would personally do is take a sturdy material like a staff, like take a sturdy material like a PVC pipe or a wooden dowel to use as your spine, and then you wrap that with cardboard. And there are two ways to go about wrapping it with cardboard, so that has a better, more cardboardy texture. You can use a classic score and fold technique, which I'm about to show you right now. You can use the score and fold technique where you take some cardboard. We'll grab a better piece. There are two ways you can go about the score and fold technique. Basically, you can either do it working with the cardboard or against the cardboard. But sometimes you don't have a long enough piece that works with the cardboard. So if you're working with the cardboard, you don't even need to use your knife. You can just look closely at the cardboard and see where it's got the, you can barely see here, but still kind of. Let me see if I can hold on camera. Yeah. You see right there, the cardboard has lines that naturally folds. Yeah, that's the right. Yeah, got lines that naturally folds under. You see, if you look inside the cardboard, like look inside of the cardboard where it's got those little holes in it. that's the direction that it can fold. It can naturally fold like that, because you're just collapsing those. You're just collapsing those little peak points in it right there. You can kind of see the little lines in the cardboard to make it a little bit easier. So when you do that, you can just essentially take the cardboard you're working with and just knead it and fold it in small little bits like this until you eventually reach the length of the staff. Reach the length of... Where is it? There we go. Until you reach a length where you can cover the staff in its entirety. Now, sometimes, most often than not, you're not in a position where you can do that particularly easily. Sometimes you don't have a piece of cardboard that's long enough to do that properly. So what you do, the more reliable method, is the score and fold, where you take your knife and your ruler, some sort of very long straight piece, and you just cut a bunch of small, thin slices into your cardboard. The thinner you make the slices, it's kind of like vertices in Blender. The thinner that you make the slices, the sharper let me visualize it this way. Hang on. There we go. Face. There we go. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. As I was saying, pretend my hand is cardboard here. When you're doing the score and forward method, the farther apart that you make the individual scores, the clunkier you're going to make the bends, if that makes sense. The closer together that you make it, the more fluid and bendy that's going to be. While the farther apart that you make it, the more rigid it's going to be, if that makes sense. So, if you want something that only bends in a couple of places, like if you're trying to make a geometric shape, you would want to cut small. You want to cut far apart. But if you want something that moves around fluidly, or can make something like a circle or a knot, that's when you want to cut it a lot closer together. So that's what we're doing here. In the case where you want something that wraps around something like that, you're going to want to make your cuts really close together. Like so. Another thing, if it helps, sometimes you're using a really sharp knife and you don't know your own strength. So if you have trouble gauging how much force to use when cutting lines into the cardboard, you can just take your craft knife and just only have it extended to like the very smallest that you can, like that, so that even if you use more force than necessary, the blade's not going to go deep enough that it cuts all the way through the cardboard. So then you just take it and just cut along the lines, over and over and over and over and over again, until it begins to bend into the shape that you're looking for, like that. And then when it does that, you're able to have an easier time wrapping the cardboard. Hang on a second, let me chop it right here so you can actually fully see what I'm doing. Okay. Hang on, this will only take 1 second. Gonna need to sharpen this knife soon. But as I was saying, yep. Okay, now we're good. I thought I I thought I made another mistake cutting it. Is this? No. That was the other one. Alright, here we go. As I was saying, this piece. We just curved and bent it all a bunch. And now it's able to be smoothly wrapped around the cardboard like this. See? Nice and smooth. The thinner that you make the cuts, the closer together that you make your cuts, the thinner that's going to make. The more it's going to take the form of the pipe. And that is your lesson in making staffs. If you are making a staff that's much bigger than this, which you most likely are, then it's good to take it slow. It's good to take it slow. You do it too fast, you're gonna get something really clunky. So just be slow and patient. The bigger the material that you're working with, the more difficult the score and fold process is going to be. Less the cutting, more the actual bending and folding and everything like that. So just take it slow, be patient, and eventually you'll get the results that you're looking for. But it always, no matter what you're doing, helps to cut along the grain and not against it. So if you have a long enough piece where it's with the grain, absolutely use that. If you don't, you're gonna have a harder time, but you can absolutely do it against the grain. That is your boxsmithing lesson today. Alright, now, where were we? Once we've cut this out, we can actually glue it back on. And I can show you actually, using this piece, the difference between score and folding with the grain versus against the grain. So let me go and do that real quick. Let me go chop this. Yeah, that's good enough. I need to take a water break in a little bit. But, as I was saying, when you're cutting with cardboard that's against the grain, where if you look, the little holes are facing the wrong side. Because you remember last time, we cut it along this side where the holes were. But this time we've cut it on the opposite side. You can still absolutely do it all the same. The cardboard's going to be a lot more difficult to work with, a lot more difficult to bend. Not impossible, but you're going to have a bit of a harder time than if you cut it with the grain. So yeah. That is your complete boxsmithing lesson for today. We're just going to take this piece right now and just go ahead and stick it on. We meant to do. Well, I take that, glue this. Fun fact about PVC pipe: if you sand it down, it actually makes it easier for your adhesives like your hot glue to stick onto it. But it's not mandatory. For most applications as a boxsmith, it works just fine if you don't. But it is something that is true that if you do that, it will stick. Finally, I see. How to tutorials asks Jeb, do you know what 3D printing is, Jeb? Yes. Yes, I do. One of my associates, fellow boxsmith, Nui de Carton, he is very proficient in 3D printing. I think it's neat enough. I used to be really obsessed with the idea when I was in middle school. I thought it was just the coolest stuff in the world. I meant to buy something called the CR10, which is high quality, relatively inexpensive 3D printers, like $400 or something like that. But I kind of outgrew and just decided to get into cardboard instead, which is partially how we are where we are today. because I was like, you know, cardboard's kind of neater anyways, and I can make props that are a lot more sturdy out of it for a lot cheaper and in significantly less time, and it's just more fun. If I was more into 3D modeling, I'd probably like 3D printing more. But I just kind of like, you know, being there and making the stuff with my own two hands versus watching a machine take a couple of days to print it for me. But not really a diss. That's not a diss to 3D printing. It absolutely still has its uses, even to a boxsmith. Like, if I get someone to like prototype like stencils and 3D print them, I could have people like buy those things like that. That'd be a really cool thing. Because if you're not really good at cutting stuff, you can just use those stencils and cut out the shapes that you're looking for you. You could use it for better edge alignment. There's a bunch of different things. 3D printing certainly has its use in all niches of cosplay, including boxsmithing. It's just I've not had an immediate need to pursue those yet. But yeah, no, 3D printing is awesome. Thanks for your question. Let's see here. Ah, welcome, Spiral. Gurren Lagann fans when they go to a construction site and see drills. Tutors ask everyone what your favorite snacks are. Nutella sticks? Oof. I would eat them more if I wasn't allergic to nuts. But they're really good. Favorite snack food for me has gotta be Ritz crackers. Like the classic flavor. It's kind of funny. Ritz crackers, I have a personal story about those crackers. From back when I was in preschool. When I was in preschool, it was during nap time, and I of course couldn't sleep because what kid actually enjoys nap time? But one of my substitute teachers was using nap time as her time to eat a snack, and she had a whole pack of Ritz crackers. And I was like, oh, that looks neat. I don't think I'd had Ritz crackers before at the time, at least, or maybe I had once or twice during like snack time or something like that. But I just saw her eating one, so I kindly asked if I could have one, and she just looked at me like I had 5 heads and said no. And as a little kid, I kind of took that personally. Like, as I'm older, I understand it now. You give one little kid a piece of your snack, and all the little kids in the room who see it are gonna want a piece of your snack, and you just want to eat. So I completely understood where she was coming from. Just the delivery was just kind of mean, is all. Kids remember these things. That was like 14 years ago, and I still remember it vividly to this day. So be mindful of what you say to little kids, I guess. But nowadays, whenever I eat a packet of Ritz crackers, I think of that teacher. I think to myself, now that I am adult, I can eat all of the goddamn Ritz crackers I want and take extra gratification out of doing so. So that's fun. Alright, this piece is just done. Just gotten finished wrapping, like so. Very neat to do. I think once they do that, we will start the water break that we do every stream. Yeah, it's really starting to come along, isn't it? Very nice. Kind of see it almost. Yeah, there we go. So that's all the way up to, we gotta fix that part, but see that. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Klein Irvin Rave Geare says, hello, Jeb, can I get a shout out? Yes, you may, Klein. Hello, I hope you're having a lovely day. Alrighty, so, we've gotten that part mostly done. Before we resume it, it is time for a water break! Oops, hold on. Water break! Yes, it is time for our stream water break. The time every stream where we take time out of our day to make sure that we are all sufficiently hydrated. I would appreciate if all of you would join me. Most of you knew this was coming anyway, so you should already had your source of water prepared. I've got this, my lovely pretentious liquid holder here. I made this in high school. It's not actually a hydro flask, it's a pretentious liquid holder. Very proud of it. But basically, we're gonna down this whole fucking thing right now, and that's going to be enough water to sustain me for the entire day. So without further ado, let us begin. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Woo! 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 Woo-wee! Ooh, that's good stuff. Ooh. Ooh. Goodness. Please stay hydrated. In this house. We stay healthy. In this house. We drink water. In this house. Yes. Woo. Okay. Kraken Apple says, I have so much cardboard in my room, I was going to make a mech suit, but then I got distracted. Yeah, that's a mood and a half. Part of being a boxsmith is having like 12 different ideas for something to create with all the cardboard that's around you. And then just don't because procrastination, stuff like that. Sometimes it's because you have other things that you need to be doing instead, and your boxsmith need because that's because you're procrastinating another activity. That's a call out for a lot of you as much as it is a call out for me. But sometimes it's because you get choice paralysis, where there's just so many things you could possibly make that it's impossible to choose just this one. Impossible to choose just one. For that, my solution to you, let me get the music back. For that, my solution to you is make it fun. Like, if you have like 4 different activities, or not 4 different activities, if you have like 4 different things that you could possibly make out of that cardboard, and all of them sound equally fun and you can't choose, grab a random number generator, roll a dice, and let fate choose it for you. That's what I would do. I've done that in the past. A lot of times where I just have 2 choices or more choices that just are equally as appealing or unappealing to me, and I just don't care which one, but I need to pick one, and I'm just unable to pick one. I just ask Google to flip a coin or something, or I flip a coin, or I flip my phone because they don't have a coin. You have options. Part of being a boxsmith, part of the boxsmith philosophy, just for life in general, is that You never view yourself as trapped. You never give up. You use that creative brain that you've got, and you figure out a solution. It doesn't have to be a solution that's perfect, but trying something is always better than doing nothing. Because as the old saying goes, if it looks stupid but works, it ain't stupid. Those are words we live by in this house. What is that? Is that a piece of hot glue? Strange. Alrighty. Henry Hester asked if I can make a He-Man sword in the future. That would be kind of fun. Maybe. We'll see. I say it once to say it again. On my website, there's a membership button where you can where if you support the channel, you get to choose the kind of stuff that I make next, among other things. So if that's something you feel strongly about, JebTheBoxsmith.com membership. Chim Lord says, Jeb, you inspired me to make cardboard stuff. Yes! We've got another one! I'm so glad that you're enjoying your... I'm so glad that I was able to do that, and hopefully you are enjoying being a boxsmith. That's what it's all about. We've got another one, gang! Let's go! Cracked Apple says, my room is just a massive fire hazard. Yeah. Yep, sounds about right. That's, the room I'm in is also a massive fire hazard. One match and, I could probably take this entire building I'm in down. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Alrighty. Ugh. Let us resume. So, I'm looking at the hammer here. I'm thinking to myself, how do we incorporate that dragon head we talked about a bit earlier? Can I just, like, move the camera up a bit? Maybe that would help. Kind of stay. Better than it used to be. Just have to make sure to be a little closer in frame. Alrighty. Oh, we've got people saying good night. Oh, good night to whoever's leaving. Good night. Hope you have a pleasant sleep. Good dreams. Alright, as I was saying. Klein Irvin Raveki Ray says, can you make Zoro's Sandai Kaitetsu someday? Someday? Yeah, absolutely. Thinking maybe it'd be really nice to have all of Zoro's swords just as a collection that I've made. That'd be really neat. I've already made Enma and one attempt at Shizui. It's so funny to me because the Shizui I made, as far as I'm concerned, purely from a perfectionist point of view, it's a piece of shit. It's not nearly as good as it could have possibly been. I was rushing for time, trying to get an upload. I couldn't get the curve of the blade just right. All that jazz. But it is easily... That video I made about Shizui is easily the highest performing short I have on this channel. I don't know what to make of that, you know? I don't know what to make of that. It is what it is. But no, I will make the rest of Zoro's swords at some point. That would be a good time, I'd say, to try another one of them. Because, you know, he's fighting King and everything like that. Whatever. Let's see here. That's right, we're making a dragon head. Now, let's see. If we look at the hammer, let me move my mic a little bit. See the hammer a bit better. If we look at the hammer, and if we said we want a dragon head on the opposite side, so it looks like it's spitting out flames and stuff. And I was thinking we could take advantage of this piece right here and make that look like it's the top of the dragon's head, and then it has a small body that coils around that part, and that the bottom of it is this part right here. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So let me go find a piece of cardboard. It's roughly the shape. It's roughly the size I want the shape of the head to be. Will this work? Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to take this and find a pencil if I can, and then we're gonna go sketch out the rough head of the dragon. Might need to look at some reference images. Oh, just look at that! I found another drink. Neat. Cool. Henry Hester says, "How the heck are you gonna make a dragon head?" Henry Hester, watch me cook. Let me show you the power of your master. A blacksmith. Let's go over here. I'm good. I'm gonna tackle it how I usually tackle the design process for sketching stuff. Chim Chim Lord asked, "My school has something called Cardboard Challenge. Do you think you could win?" Easy. It would not be hard. I know I could. The likelihood that you have someone in your school who could rival my skill in boxsmithing is not impossible, but unlikely. Tell you what, Chim Chim Lord. Let me think. I am a very competitive motherfucker. So, you are one of my fans, you are one of my kids, you are my darling adventurers. I want you to win that challenge. So, are you in the Discord server? Chim Chim Lord, are you in the Discord server? Well, to answer that question, I'm gonna go start looking for a reference image for sketching so for a dragon. For an easy style dragon. Alright, Jim Lord's not on the server. Alright. Tell you what. Alright, that probably won't work anyways. Alrighty. Let me think. Chim Chim Lord, in some way or another, I want to help you win that cardboard challenge. So you tell me what you're building, and oh wait, are you in the Discord server, Chim Chim? Oh no, sorry, no, you're not in the. But do you have Discord? Do you have Discord? Is the question. That's the question. Because there's a link to the server early up in the chat. Let's see. Do I still have the link on me? Yeah, I do. Chim Chim Lord, if you have Discord, use that link. Alrighty. Let's see here. Any second now. Alright, let me start sketching the dragon head. But I want it to look. No. Ooh, that might work. Don't mind me, I'm just looking for reference images for the dragon. Now it's a bit too furry. I like him. Nothing against furries, it's just that's not the aesthetic we're looking for here. We're looking for something a little bit more simple, a little more industrial looking. And these are too smooth designs. Oh, that one will work. I think that one works. Alrighty. Alright, welcome Chim Chim Lord. I'm a competitive guy. I want you to win that challenge. After the stream, I'm gonna DM you. If you're free, we're gonna hop on a call. I'm gonna help you build something that'll win that design challenge. So stay tuned for that. how-to tutorials as can you put me in the credit of the hammer, please, because I gave you the idea. Yeah, of course. We already established that I'm shouting out the people who are on the stream. Yeah, who are on the stream when I make the video. Hey, we got a new subscriber, Brutus. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you were the first person to subscribe with the you're the first person to subscribe ever since I set up that alert, so thank you for showing that it does in fact work. Because when I did the test on Streamlabs, it didn't work for whatever reason. So it's good to see that it's good to see that played. Alrighty, Dragonhead, reference image. Looking at that, yeah. Let's see here. Oops, is that the right one? Alrighty, let's look at this. Oh, heck. Balls. Where did it go? There it is. Alrighty. Buttons. Oof. I'm losing my groove. It's no good. That's better. Alright, let's try this. Let's look for drawingforall.net and like try to get like the rough shape of this dragon head. Yeah, okay. So it says start by sketching out something like that. Okay, now that I can do. You see, it's interesting. I don't fancy myself much of a traditional artist, at least comparison to other people I know. But one thing I can do, I can trace pretty well. That's exactly what I'm gonna be doing right here. Look at this. I'm gonna begin tracing. Occurs to me this piece might not be long enough for the job. That could be a problem. Depends on how I look at it. Let's do it. Yes, but it's not long enough. Potatoes. Hey, that one works. Ugh, thank God. Okay. That's what we're gonna use. That's gonna... Okay. We're cooking again, everyone. We're cooking again. Let's go. It's just simplistic head shape. Let's go start sketching it like right. If I want the horns to be like right there, so we're gonna sketch it like so it faces that direction. And it goes up a little bit more, so I'm going to make it so it faces that direction. The music's still playing properly? I think I might have killed the music. Oh well, let's bring music back. Hey, good song, good song. Alright, let's see here. Okay, let's double checking the chat. Hey, welcome, Chim Chim. Oop. Hey. Where were we? Ah, there we go. That's what I wanted. Good. Okay. Oh. Let me see if I can put another browser source so you can actually see what I'm sketching here. Not browser source, another window capture. Device capture. Workspace. Okay, there we go. Now you can see. Yes. Alright. Okay. Good. Now you can hopefully probably see what I'm doing, follow along with that. As I was saying, I'm not much good at drawing in the traditional way. Like, I can't just look at or think of an image of a dragon and just be like bada bing bada boom. But I can trace real good. That's how I make most of my replicas. I just look at an image of... I just look at an image of it, and then I just kind of trace it out roughly, and just follow along with that. So I eventually get my desired result. And just kind of scale it and follow along with it for what I'm making out of cardboard. As you'll see here. If I know that I want the snout to be roughly right there, then it's gonna... Oh, perfect. There. Bottom part. I have to go a little bit off that. Basically, onto that. But bottom speed. That's the front part. Out. Bottom part. I think it's open. That right there. Huh. That might work. Might do that. Make a curve all the way down like that. And then out. Yeah, that's starting to look all right. That's decent enough. We'll go with that. That's the rough shape. And then the eye goes roughly here. That, and you can add maw pieces if you want, but we're not going to worry about that too much. Okay. Like that in there. Now that's probably about as detailed as we want, to be honest. We could add a little bit more to the, like the nape. Something just doesn't feel right about that part of it. I can't tell what it is, though. Maybe it just needs to have more of it. Maybe it's not. Maybe if I draw teeth right there, it'll make it feel better. Yeah, okay. This part was just down too much. That's what the problem was. Yeah, too big of a bottom chin. But now we've corrected that. It's a lot cleaner. That's a bit too detailed for what we're going for, so we're just going to stop at this step right there. He thinks. So, trace it around. There. And then follow this. So, and top part meets there. Go off script a little bit and add it like that. Okay. Yeah, so that's giving us the rough shape that we need. Finish the rest. There. Yeah, okay. Coming together. Not sure if you can really see it well or not, but... Oh, Henry had to leave us. Alright, good night, Henry. See you tomorrow. Oh, but before you go, the music is... what's playing right now? It's probably... Alright, the song that's playing right now is Homelander's theme. But the song that was before that was Tenebrosa Sangue from Ultra Kill, and before that was Metal Gear Rising. Hope that helps. Good night. Yeah, you can't even see what I'm drawing there, so you're just gonna have to wait until I cut it out for it to make sense. That's fine. I kinda anticipated that would happen, but trust me, it looks neat. You can trust that. Yeah. That'll do. Let's see. Do I need to erase that line? I can cut that out. That would make it look better. What happened to my knife? Where did Mikasa go? Oh, there she is. Alright, there we go. Once I finish cutting out the rough shape, I'm going to show it off to y'all so you can kind of see where I'm going for. And then I'll cut into a bunch of different pieces so that we can properly get the effect of the depth that we need. And I assure you, that will make a lot more sense when you see it happen, but for now you just gotta trust me. I need to sharpen this knife soon. That's okay. If I change the screen, I don't really need to be here anymore. I'm just cutting it out. I'm just cutting it out at this point. Oh, there we go. Jim Lord asked when do I live stream again? Probably tomorrow. Roughly the same time. Even if we don't finish this tonight, we still have Community Creation Showcase we can do. That might be what we do tomorrow. Alright. Sar Commander asked, Jeb, can I get a shoutout? Yes, you may. Hello, Sar Commander. I don't know what time of day it is for you, but I hope it's going pleasant. I need to cut that right there? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. It's alright. Good. You can kind of see the shapes coming together now, can't you? Forward. How did I have this earlier? we're just gonna roll with that. Oh, the problem is this tilted too far. That's what the issue was. Okay. Mic was fine, just the camera didn't do it right. Okay, but as I was saying, you can kind of see the rough shape that we're using right now. That's gonna be our dragon head. That's gonna go right. My mic again. Gonna go like right there. That. Thinking. Yeah. Something like that. That's what it's like. I'm going to duplicate it. Add a couple of pieces. That order of business. So I'm going to need to duplicate this a couple of times. So, before we get into that, Quaker said pine cones, which reminds me of another story from my youth. That'll get into once I fix this bastard tripod. Good enough. Alright, so, as I was saying, story from my youth. Story time, everyone. So, saying pine cones makes me remember... Come on. Thank you. Come on. Technology, am I right? As I was saying, pine cones reminds me of a story from my youth. Basically, what happened was, I was in preschool, or some class similar to your preschool. I think it was in like K4 or something like that. Anyways, what happened? I was a good kid growing up. I rarely got in trouble. I rarely misbehaved, all that kind of good kid stuff. And one day, me and my class were playing on the playground, and someone waged a pinecone war. And as soon as the call was made, like a bunch of little boys from my class all grabbed pine cones because there were like a bunch of big old pine trees on the playground that we had. So there was more than enough for everyone. I just started throwing pine cones at people. And, you know, I didn't want to engage in a pine cone war because I knew there was a high chance we were going to get in trouble if we did. But I also didn't want to get hit in the face with a pine cone. So, prisoner's dilemma took over, and I was quick to arm myself with pine cones. And because at the bare minimum, having a pine cone on hand and the threat of having a pine cone deterred most other kids from throwing a pine cone at me, because I was in a position where I could easily retaliate. You know? They preferred weaker prey. But, as they say, power corrupts. Because at one point, I was running around with my pine cone, and I saw a friend of mine, my buddy Eli. I even remember his name, Eli. I caught him lacking. I saw him about 40 meters away, pine cone-less. I took aim. I looked at his direction, and I said, "Lo siento, mi amigo," and lobbed that shit. And it cleared the entire 40 yards and crit shot him beamed in the head. And on the one hand, I was like, hell yeah, I hit him square in the face. On the other hand, I was like, oh no, I hit him square in the face. Needless to say, he was not happy about that. He cried. I felt bad. But what was done, what was done. We were still friends afterwards. But, I still think about that sometimes. I suck at throwing long distances now, and that's probably my divine punishment for using my powers for evil back then. It's like, I haven't, to this day, I have not thrown something that well since the day that I spiked Eli in the face with a pine cone. So yeah, that is my story. Moral of the story? Speak softly, carry a big pine cone. Ah, come on! Okay. I see what happened. Alrighty. That's okay. Just gonna live jib the Boxsmith reaction. There we go. I need to get a new tripod. Actually, I already have a new tripod. I'm just not using it right now because I use it for other things, and having to constantly move that tripod from this room where it's put to a different room all the time would be very annoying. But I'm starting to... Come on. I'm starting to consider if it's worth the trouble to just move it all the time if I don't have to deal with that kind of bullshit anymore. But I digress. But basically my thought process here is we're cutting out the dragon head several different times. This is only the second of several, and we're going to use those different cuts that we're making to... to make different parts of the bigger dragon head. Because when I cut out the second piece underneath it, I could then cut out pieces like the eyes on this part, so then it can have the actual depth of having eyes without me having to draw it onto it. It's gonna look really cool. Get into that. She needs a sharpening. She's getting dull on me. Good. Oh, much better. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. Much better. Alrighty, so you notice now I have ugh. Goodness. If you notice, now I have 2 pieces of a dragon head cut out. That's going to be useful because now I can use the one dragon head and the other dragon head in tandem. Because I can use this as a stencil. This is the one that I drew on and everything like that to give the rough shape. So now I can cut pieces of this out and add some dimension to this thing. Just give it some 3D effect and things like that. I'll show you all how in just a bit. To start out, I'm going to cut out pieces that I want to be further in, like the shape of the eye and things like that. Like, you know, this is probably a better job for Ares. Ares! Cut out my creation, and my life is yours. Alright, so got this rough shape eye. That's fine, actually. Is it? Okay. Mistakes happen. You can either give up or you can either give up or use it as an opportunity to learn something new. Innovation's the child of failure, after all. Shot that out there. Sometimes the reason things don't go your way is because there is secretly a better idea that you did not come up with. And if you stop with what you're doing, you're able to better see what that idea is. Oh, Suspicious Toast is here. What's up? Wait a minute. How-to tutorials. What is it that you wanted me to do before you went to sleep? I can't seem to find the original message. But here, I've cut out the eye now. Yeah. That needs to be cut out. That needs to be... Okay. We cut out that and that. And then leave it like that. Put that on top of that. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. Welcome back, Suspicious Toast. Tell us how your Law Sword project is going. I'm eager to hear your progress. Excellent. So, see this right here? This piece that we just cut out? Now, if we put it on top of this piece, you notice we've given some dimension to it. Pretty cool, huh? But now when we put it here... Come on. Now when we put it here... It's gonna look really nice. Gracious. But that will be for next time. We're going to call it a night right now, but look at all the progress we've made. The base hammer itself is now finished. Got that. All of that beautifulness. All the way down to the handle at the bottom. And then, tomorrow's stream will be us finishing up, giving it all beautiful detailing and everything that we want. That'll be for next time. We'll stream that tomorrow. And hopefully finish it then, or if not, I'll just stream again Friday. But, that being said, thank you all so much for joining, being a man of my word. One final shout out to OKO Edits, Henry Hester, How To Tutorials, KDBLFSDYFLVHEI, Garage Creations, Jerry Hart, Chim Chim Lord, Jack of Spades, Quaker 66279, Ezzy Janer Legend. And is that everyone? Mr. Abradom, Draylin Fanboy, and Spiral, and Klein Irvin. This is awesome. This is the most people we've had in the one chat so far. Klein Irvin, Ray Gure, Kraken Apples, Sar Commander, Suspicious Toast, Snow Nexus, and Snow Nexus. Thank you all. Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot more than last time. I'm very happy about that. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to stay tuned tomorrow where we finish. Make sure to stay tuned tomorrow where we start working on the detailing of everything. And hopefully finish this big ol' hammer project. But thank you for joining me. You have made at least my night a lot more fun. So, thank you all so much for watching. Drink lots of water, happy crafting, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, jeb out.